Goldman Sachs, they've famously predicted that more than 300 million jobs could be disrupted by AI. But there's a scarier probability. And I can actually see on some of your faces, speaking of scared, you're wondering, I know, what is with the black t-shirt? Now, this probability is that many of these roles aren't necessarily going to disappear. They're just going to be done by fewer humans. So think, one AI agent plus one human that might automate or displace 2, 3, or more humans. So it begs the question, what do you have to do to be that one human? Now, all of us here have every right to be a little wary about being replaced or outpaced by AI. But it's not just AI that you should be concerned about. Rather, that individual that comes along with a unique, distinctive, and authentic human identity and value proposition. They're the one that you should be concerned about. Because understanding, defining, and curating your unique human identity is going to be one of the most important tools that you can have to navigate and thrive in this new era. I contend that being more human, in fact, is going to be the competitive advantage of the future. Being more empathetic, creative, thinking critically, connecting and feeling, all that good stuff that can make you stand out, be valued, relevant, and make the impact that I know so many of you here would like to make. Now, human identity is part or is the foundation of a broader construct I call HI, which is the total sum of the human impact, if you like. That amazing, innate, physiological human technology that can span the spectrum from, human inspiration, imagination, intimacy, inquisitiveness, imperfection, out to even a little bit of insanity. But in this case, identity. Now, can I please ask you to put your hand up if you consider yourself to be a brand? Good. Awesome. Excellent. My job is done. So you're all brands, like it or not. But some hypotheticals here. As a brand, would you buy brand you? Oh, yeah. It's a biased question. Would your customer buy a brand you? Would your future employer buy a brand you? Would a potential lover, lust, interest buy you? And would you know why or why not? Now, for 30 years, I've been working with, on, and for some amazing businesses and brands, the likes of Cadbury, Philips, Absolute Vodka, Pepsi, and many others. And I've been obsessed with understanding what makes great brands tick and ultimately win. Now, I'd like to take you on a little field trip, if you will. And for a minute, ask you to imagine yourself as one of your favorite products in a supermarket. So here I am, I'm going down the aisle, my trolley, and I'm stopping, as it so happens, in front of sauces and condiments. Now, you may think of yourself as a fire engine red, spicy hot chili number. Who knows? I'm taking, my trolley over another couple of aisles. And here we are now in front of personal care. And you think of yourself as a luscious, lavender-scented body wash in a sleek and squeezable bottle. Who knows? Regardless of your spirit, product, or brand, does your unique human identity transposed onto said product, does it make it different or distinctive enough to be picked up off that shelf? Or will it be left there? Now, this might sound a little crude and transactional to some of you, but the same goes for humans as for products and services. And I've been around enough years to believe that life is about literally dozens of these moments of choice. Job interviews, pitches, friendships. We all have a deep human desire to be valued, appreciated, seen, and ultimately be chosen. Now, not that long ago, I was in my dream job. I was head of future insights and innovation at a large multinational consumer goods business. Things were great. Then along came COVID. And within a year, that future was cancelled and I was made redundant. And then in the subsequent 3 years, I was disestablished a further 2 times. So, like so many, my script had been torn up and I'd received a metaphorical punch in the guts. Now, for 18 months after that, no one was buying me. I was being left on the shelf. In fact, at times, I didn't even think I was on the shelf, rather out the back, in the storeroom, waiting to be credited back as old stock. Because let's face it, being a bald, early old male hasn't exactly maybe flavour of the last decade or so. So my sense of identity, my visibility, my relevance, and frankly, my sense of self-worth and value, well, they were all waning. So I said, as a brand guy, I said, Scott, geez, you've got to take some different action here. So I reviewed, refined, restaged, and relaunched my identity. Because frankly, when the likes of the economy and these other big shifts that are happening out there, they're largely beyond our control. One of the things that we have significant influence over is who we are, what we are, and how we turn up. And honestly, I'd said to myself, there's no way that my best before date is coming up anytime soon. Now, when I was a teenager, the first album I purchased was that of True Colours by that iconic New Zealand band Split Enz. They're brave, bold, original, and just fun. And I love everything that they represent. Which brings me to my wardrobe. This wonderful custom jacket and these yellow shoes. Now, to many of you here, they might be considered heinous crimes against fashion. But no, to me, they are deliberate and conscious choices as cues and expression of my best identity, my brand. A little bit colourful, fun, energetic, a little bit rebellious. And the shoes, I saw these on a trip to Japan a number of years ago. And they spoke to me from the shelf. Nay, they yelled at me from the fixture. And when I wear them, I feel more bold, open, and confident. And unlike the jacket, which is for special occasions such as today, I can wear these for a coffee, to a meeting with a client, to the dentist, to make me feel better. The fact is that more than just an item of clothing, they are a cue and a catalyst that snaps me into my best state, be that being humorous and engaging, creative, collaborative, or strategic. Now, for me, it's the yellow shoes and the jacket. But for you, it's any number of different things. And looking out at the audience, there's some fabulous examples already. Now, it could be the car that you drive. It might be the glasses you wear. It could be a shirt or a skirt. It could be a watch, a tattoo, or a lippy, or bold nail polish colour. It just makes you feel fierce and says, hey, to yourself and others, this is me turned up loud. So you all have these things, whether subconsciously or consciously, that make you feel most alive, the most confident you, most valuable you, the most you. So my question for you to ponder is, what are your yellow shoes? Because this construct of identity is grounded in the art and the science that is branding, which is timeless in itself. And in my experience, there's a number of common elements for great brands that stand the test of time. There's integrity, so there's an element of truth and lived experience. They're interesting, they stop and engage you. The brand is what it is, so it delivers on its promise. It makes an impact, so it moves you to take some action. And importantly, it's iterative. So great brands, they don't necessarily get replaced or outpaced. I believe they set the pace. And you only need to think of a number of any brand or organization, global, local, big or small. And it's amazing how often the human identity of a founder, the CEO, or the human characterization in their advertising is inextricably linked to that entity. Sometimes for good, sometimes not so much. But it talks to the power and the potential for you to leverage your human identity, be an individual, small business, leader, or a team in a larger organization. And the other thing about some of these individuals or identities that you might have in your head, well, some of them might make you smile, and frankly, some of them might make you cringe. But here's a key point. If you're genuinely going to be a true expression of yourself, you are likely going to be polarizing to a degree. So you're going to have your tribe over here. They're going to love you. And over here, well, maybe not so much. But you know what? That's okay. That's fine. Because the biggest crime is being bland and frankly, your biggest fear should not be being replaced by AI, rather being forgotten, becoming invisible, and being left on that shelf. Because in a world which is consistently being, feeding us things like the algorithms, bots, and agents, and the very essence of being human and connecting is being challenged on every front. You all here are the antidote to that. Because AI is going to continue to do a lot of the work both now and into the future. So it's beholden upon you to double down on who you are and how you are being as a human. Because the best version of human you is your ultimate competitive advantage. So I say, look, embrace and curate your unique, distinctive, imperfect, yes, but beautiful human you, and be that person that others want to work for, work with, trust, follow, and ultimately choose. So I'll leave you with a couple of questions. As a product, would you buy brand new? And what are your yellow shoes?